Hey guys, welcome back to part 2 of my Q&A for my 2,000 subscribers. And we'll get straight on with the questions. And first question comes from Touchy858. Okay, Touchy asks, how do you decide which platform to collect for? Basically, the main one I collect for is the Super Nintendo, and the second system that I collect for is the Xbox. Other than that, I just buy games for the other systems, like games I want to play, games I hear of or recommended to me. So the only ones I actually really properly collect for, I would say, are the Super Nintendo and the Xbox. And the reason I chose both of those is because the Super Nintendo was the first ever console I actually owned, and it was also the first console I ever bought for myself. And it has a lot of memories with the games like Castlevania, Super Pro Protector, or Contra as it's called in America, and Super Mario World, of course, Super Mario Kart. I mean, it just really brings back my youth, and that's why I like to collect for that system. I've always wanted to have a nice, good sized collection of Super Nintendo games. Xbox, another one, last generation was my favourite system. I love the Xbox. I mean, it's a fantastic console. You know, for the first entry into the gaming space, I thought Microsoft did an absolutely great job. Essentially, yeah, it is a PC in a box, but that's no bad thing. I mean, you know, they all are now, really. This generation's the same thing. They're only, you know, underpowered PCs, if you want to look at it that way, because PC gaming is far superior, obviously. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter. The Xbox, really well designed, doesn't break down, it's sturdy, well built, great controller, and some absolutely fantastic games. I mean, they had Halo on day one. I mean, for a brand new system to launch, you know, completely out of the blue from a company that's not renowned for making game consoles, and to come out with a title like Halo on day one, that was pretty impressive. And Touchy also says, I know you collect for the original Xbox, is it simply because you love the system like me? Well, as I say, absolutely. It was the best system last generation, in my personal opinion. I love the fact that you could modify the machine and change the hard drives and mess with the software and do all kinds of weird little things in run emulators like MAME on it, which was really cool. I just thought the Xbox was just an absolutely cracking console, basically. Also, do you find time to play all the games you collect, or do you just prize the fact that you own the games? I would say it's sort of like a partly prizing the fact that I own the games. The reason I collect personally is because to play the games, primarily, obviously, but most importantly, I've always been under the impression, and I've discussed this with my mate in the past who actually gave me the idea a couple of years ago, and it made good sense, and that was to basically buy these games, keep them, and then don't sell them on, which I know I've got a habit of doing, but I don't do that anymore with my Super Nintendo. I'll calm down and I do buy them to keep, which is good. And I just think that, well, if you know, one day I'm feeling in the mood for a bit of Dreamcast, I've got a Dreamcast to play on, or next day I might feel like a bit of Super Nintendo, I'm going to play some Mario World or something. It's just having that library, really. It's not so much for me about the financial aspect or anything like that. It's all about just having the games there, ready to play whenever I feel the mood. Because, you know, I don't want to game every single day. And when I was younger, I did. When I was a kid, that's all I did. I saw LMA 187 saying the same thing recently. You know, as a kid, you have a lot more time to play games. As an adult, you don't, so you have to just sort of fit it in around your life, unfortunately. It would be nice if I had to just get up in the morning and do nothing else but game, but, you know, it only happens if you win the lottery or something, so and then you'd never be at home anyway because you'd be out exploring the world, so you can't win. Next part of the question, see what else he asked. Right, okay. Right, personally, I've treasured the rare titles in my collection simply because I know they're hard to find, which is true. That is a good point as well. There is nothing better than when you find a game that's really difficult to come by, and especially if you get it box complete in pretty much near enough as mint condition as possible. There is a kind of pride thing there. You just like, you know, it took you a long time to get it and you finally tracked it down and you know how difficult it is for other people to get it. It's kind of like, thank God I've got it, you know. And does the resale value of the rare titles matter to you? No, I'd say it never has really, not from the beginning. I've never been a person who wants to buy games in order to sell them for profit later on down the line. For me, it's just all about having the actual games to play and enjoy, which is kind of frustrating when the price of some of the games on eBay. This is why I get annoyed, because it's like, there are games I want to play, but I'm just not willing to pay the prices because they're just too expensive. And sometimes I think you do just need to bite the bullet and just go, well, you know, I'm going to have to pay the money. Even though some games are over £100 and they'll just think there's no way I can justify that for a game. I couldn't justify that for a modern game, never mind a retro title. So, but then I suppose maybe if you are going to justify it, retro is more justifiable than modern because they're so hard to come by in good condition. That's one to think about, but I don't know, it's a lot of money for a game sometimes and it annoys me, because I primarily just want to play them. I'm not fussed about selling them on in the future. So thank you, Touchy. Next set of questions is from James is here, bro. He has 3 questions. James asks, number 1, what is the gaming shop you use the most, retail, not online? Mostly would be GameStation, however I don't really retail shop as much as I should. I do generally, like a lot of people, just use online services because it's easier. However, following the PlayStation failure lately with a hack, it did make me reconsider leaving my details on websites and things, so I've now taken them down so that I have to input them every single time I buy something. And also, I think it was Jurassic Junkin, pretty certain was saying about how it's better to go and buy from a shop if you can, because obviously the shops are going to go under. And, I have the same feeling that people are going to go out of work again, and with the recession and everything that's happened, and that's the last thing we need is more people going out of work. And the biggest problem is obviously the difference in price. Even on their own websites like GameStation, their website prices are so much cheaper than what their shop prices are. And for me personally, I think if you're going to do that, what you should do is the website should be like £1, maybe £5 difference between that and the shop, to encourage people who want to go to the shop but don't because they can get it cheaper online, to go, well, £5, I might as well just go to the shop and pick it up. You get it now, you haven't got to wait a few days, and I'd rather do that. It kind of pisses me off actually, because when the 3DS came out, when they eventually got close to launch, the prices were changing all the time. GameStation eventually sold it on the website for £1.98, and in store they still wanted £2.20. And I was like, well, that's a ridiculous difference. You can't do that. It should have been £1.98 on the website and maybe £205 in the store. That would have encouraged a lot more people to go to the store and would have kept the people who work in the store in work. But it's business and people don't think like that. It's all about the money, isn't it? Question number 2 from James. How tall are you? I'm 5'11". Question number 3. What is your favourite original Xbox game? It's better than the 360, that's what I'm asking. Yeah, absolutely dude, it is better than the 360 in every way, shape and form. It's definitely better in build quality anyway, that's for damn sure. My favourite original Xbox game, that's a tough. It always comes back to Halo, unfortunately. I say unfortunately because it's a generic answer that everyone probably uses, but I just think that Combat Evolved really changed the game for console first-person shooters. Previously we'd had games like GoldenEye on the N64, Quake 2 on the PS1, which were really, really good titles and really showed that first-person shooters can work on a console. But I think when Halo came along, it showed that it really can work. You can have like big, expansive worlds. Halo wasn't that massively expansive, but at the time it was quite large for a first-person shooter on a console. The graphics were epic, they had fantastic audio. It had a sort of multiplayer, but it wasn't the best. It was very basic at that point. I don't even know if it was online. I don't think it was. I think it was just normal split screen. And then obviously Halo 2 came out, which was basically where online gaming, I personally believe, really took off, because even I, who am not a very, who's not a multiplayer gamer, I got a lot of fun out of Halo 2 multiplayer. I used to play with a group of friends, and I really enjoyed doing that. And I always found multiplayer gaming better with a group of friends anyway. I don't like playing randoms. So yeah, I'd probably say Halo more than Halo 2. If it was multiplayer, it'd be Halo 2, but single player Halo, definitely. And also there's another game called Brute Force, which is an absolute classic. Okay, my good friend Ash81B for you has 4 questions. Question number 1. First of all, he said congrats on 2000, so thank you, Ash. Question number 1. What 8-bit game would you like to see remade? That's a really tough question, mate. I'm going to go with the Commodore 64 games that I owned, and I owned a lot, so it's hard to remember the majority of the games that I played. There's only really a few that just sort of stick in my mind, like Bruce Lee, Hunchback, Raid Exploding Fist, because that's the first game I ever played. Those kind of games. The Last Ninja series, awesome. If I was going to say an 8-bit remake, I would love to see Last Ninja remade. And I did hear a couple of years ago, I'm sure I read in Retro Gamer, that they were trying to remake a new Ninja game, or they were thinking about doing it. I'm sure they were going to do it, and then it just got canned. But if there's anyone that wants to make a Last Ninja title, they should try and do it. I don't know how it would sell, because I think mass market it hasn't got the appeal. But for people like ourselves who grew up with 8-bit gaming, and for anyone that played Last Ninja, would definitely want to pick it up and try it out. And I just think that it would corner that niche market, the kind of people that play games like Heavy Rain, games that are not like the norm. Which, Heavy Rain was a big surprise for me, so I'd definitely like to see a Last Ninja game remade. Having said that, if you're talking more mainstream and just anything that anyone will buy, I would say a game like Hawkeye. I don't remember a lot about Hawkeye, but I just remember it was a really cool little platform. It got a bloke on the front with a cybernetic eye. It was really cool. And then of course, there's also, I know you only asked for one, but I just thought something else. There's also Renegade as well. I love the Renegade series. Not so much the third one, but Renegade and Target Renegade. Target Renegade in particular was an excellent game. Renegade 3. I don't even know, was it called Renegade 3 or did it have a title? I'm sure it was just like the third one, but I don't know. It was crap anyway because you had time travel and it was just silly. But Target Renegade, that was classic. So either make a 4th Renegade or just do a HD Renegade, whichever's best. Question number 2. Favourite artwork on a box of a game. For me it's going to be Street Fighter 2 Turbo, the Super Famicom version. If you've seen that artwork, that is fantastic. It's got all the characters on the front. It's got Chun-Li at the front like that with a fireball, and it's really well done. It's just a beautiful piece of artwork. Other than that, I would have said Final Fight Tough, because I really like that cover. Or any of those crazy Japanese shooters like the Proteus series or Twin B, they're always really good. If you were a dinosaur, what one would it be? Yeah, I've not got a massive knowledge of dinosaurs to be honest, mate. I'll probably say a Brontosaurus. I think that's the right one. Those huge ones that are vegetarian with the massive long necks. You haven't got much manoeuvrability, so you wouldn't be able to escape a T-Rex attack. But I think that because you've got the long neck, you've got the distance ability, you can see what's coming. So maybe it'll give you the heads up and you can have a chance to start moving in time. But then again, I think T-Rexes can run quite quick, so you might be screwed. I don't know. And question 4. Coffee and a blueberry muffin, or a pint of lager and a tube of Pringles. Well, when I was younger, mate, definitely the pint of lager followed by a tube of Pringles. There was nothing better when I was drunk to open up a nice tube of Pringles. They're just like really, really addictive when you're drunk. But as I'm older now, I'd say a coffee and a blueberry muffin, but I'd make it a cherry muffin because I prefer cherry to blueberry. Or ideally, I would have a Starbucks cappuccino, large, and a Starbucks carrot cake, because the slice of that carrot cake is just phenomenal. So, great questions, Ash. Thanks, mate. Right, next one is from that random guy 667. It says, congrats on the 2,000 subs, thank you. And the question is, what are your top favourite? What are your top 5 Super Nintendo games and why? Super Mario World, absolutely. I think everyone picks that one. It's just a fantastic title. It was the first game I ever saw on a Super Nintendo running, and I actually got to play myself. And I was just really, really impressed with the game. The graphics was just a massive upgrade from like what I'd been getting on the Amiga, which the Amiga was excellent, but the SNES was just like wow. The audio was phenomenal, the level layout. You know, that previously to that I played a little bit of Mario 2 and a little bit of Mario 3 because I had a friend who had an NES. And I dabbled when I used to go around his house and play them. But I never really played Mario titles properly until I got Super Mario World. And it just blew my socks off. And you know, using Yoshi as well was just so cool. It's a really, really great game. Another game would be Super Star Wars. The trilogy is good, but Super Star Wars is the best of the trilogy in my opinion. I just love the graphics, the music, the character design, the animation, the level design. It's really simple but really fun, and they captured the Star Wars music perfectly. I'm not a Star Wars fan, but I really like that game. So we need 3 more games. I would pick Super Mario Kart. You know, for me, still the best Mario Kart on any system ever made. You're never going to beat that. I love the Mode 7. I love the battle mode. The battle mode was great for 2-player. You know, you've got a few beers with your friends. That was great fun. And it's just, even these days, it's just a really fun game. It's got really memorable music as well. Like a lot of SNES games, the music really sticks in your head. A bit like the NES as well in that respect. The Nintendo machines always have great music. So yeah, I mean that's Super Star Wars, Super Mario World, and Super Mario Kart. So that's 3. So we need 2 more. So it's going to be Super Castlevania 4 for definite. I absolutely adore that game. It's the first Castlevania game I ever played, and it just stuck with me. There's just something about the style of it. None of the other Castlevania seem to be in that style. They all seem to be very arcadey. I don't know how you actually explain in words what the style of Castlevania 4 is, but it just feels different when you play it. It doesn't feel like the other games. And I really, really enjoyed it. It was a really cool game, and some of my favourite music ever in any game. Especially the cave level, I love that music. It's just brilliant. You get them little rock guys and you smack them and they come down to smaller rock blokes. Brilliant game. And the other one would be Super Pro Protector, or as it's called in the States, Contra. Or Contra 3 in fact. Yeah, mega run and gun game. Absolutely fantastic. I managed to finish it when I was a kid, but I can't do it anymore. I'm just not very good at it. My reaction time isn't there, and you have to just keep going and keep going, and I just get killed a lot. But yeah, I'm hoping to pick that up soon because I'm still trying to find a good copy for it, but brilliant game. Next set of questions are from my good friend Alex, BlueTonic78. So congrats on the 2000, cheers Alex. And he has 5 questions. Question number 1, as time goes on, Does your passion for gaming increase, decrease, or pretty much stay the same? I'd say it pretty much stays the same, mate, to be honest with you. I'm always pretty hyped for all new games that come out, any developments that come in the world of gaming, any new consoles. As soon as something's announced, I'm always interested. I'm always looking at all the websites and videos on YouTube and trying to get as much information as I can. New Nintendo system at the moment, I'm burnt out because there's no new information. We've got another 4 weeks before we find out the actual facts. I can't wait. I'm really excited about that. There are days when I'm playing crap games and my enthusiasm for gaming does go down a lot. My passion drops fast. But yeah, overall, I'm pretty much steady. I always get super hyped when something new comes out, and then other than that, generally, I'm just always in the mood for gaming. I love gaming. I've never been really at the point where I'm just totally fed up. There are points where you feel like giving up gaming, but you always play a game afterwards that just makes you realise why gaming's so brilliant. So you can not really ignite your passion. So I'd say pretty much the same all the time. Question number 2 from Alex: would you ever move abroad, and have you ever thought about it? And if so, where would you like to be and why? I haven't, mate, to be honest. I'm quite happy living in the UK. I've never really, to be honest with you, I've never been outside of the UK. I've never been on a plane or anything, so I don't know what I'm missing out on. Maybe if I travelled, it might change my perspective. I might actually consider it. But I'm very much a homely person, like to be around family and that. So yeah, I've not really thought about it. But as I say, in the future, if I go travelling, it might change my mind. Question number 3: multiplayer gaming is huge, but you never really express much of an interest in it. Why is this, and has that always been the case? It hasn't always been the case. As I said earlier, I did used to play Halo 2 quite a bit with friends, and I used to love that. I thought it was great until it got to the point where when you try and play randoms and people started cheating on Halo 2, and it got really annoying, and that was pissed me off. But playing with friends was great. And I used to play Call of Duty 2 on the Xbox 360 with friends as well, and I really enjoyed that. And even that game with randoms, I used to get a couple of decent matches every so often, and there weren't too many annoying people. I find it more that modern multiplayer, like the Black Ops and the Modern Warfare games, people just take it too damn seriously, and I just don't have patience, and they don't give you a chance to learn either. There's no, there should be like I'm trying to think of a word other than noob, because I hate that word, but people who are crap at it, they should have a lobby so that we can all go and practice and get better at it, because otherwise you just walk into the room, get shot in the face, spawn, get shot in the face, spawn, get shot in the face, spawn, sniped, and it's just like, oh, for God's sake, it's really frustrating. I hate snipers. So yeah, and for me personally, multiplayer's boring. It's just the same thing. It's always some kind of capture the flag, some kind of deathmatch, team deathmatch. There's no variety. There's no real effort to make multiplayer something more interesting, more inclusive, and to bring communities together. It's just the same old crap. So yeah, I'm much more about single player, about the story, the experience, the characters. I really do enjoy that. Next question, number 4. Have you ever experienced anything supernatural, be it a ghost or a UFO? I haven't. I'd like to. Not ghost-wise, but UFO-wise, it'd be really cool to see a UFO. I kind of get jealous of the people that get to see these spacecraft. But yeah, you do have to differentiate between. I always find it quite annoying that people just label everything as a UFO, which it is, because it does mean unidentified flying object. So anything you can't identify, whether it be a military craft, an air balloon, a spacecraft, a bird, whatever, a light reflection, yeah, it's an unidentified flying object if you don't realise what it is and you think it's flying. There's a complete difference between a UFO and a spacecraft. So yeah, I don't know, who knows what's really the truth, what's really out there, but I've never experienced anything myself, but it'd be really cool to experience something, as long as I don't get abducted. And Alex's final question number 5. Praise the Lord, agnostic or atheist? I like the fact that you assume I'm not religious in the slightest, unless I've mentioned that before, which I probably have. Yeah, I'm not religious. I'm not an atheist, so I'd say I'm an agnostic, which as far as I understand, an agnostic is somebody who is not a believer and is not a skeptic either. He's somebody in the middle. I'm pretty much scientific. I don't believe 100% in God, and I don't, trying to think of the word, I don't disregard the fact that God might exist and Jesus might exist and there might be a heaven and there might be a hell. I don't know. Like everybody on the planet, none of us really know the truth until we die, and then we'll find out. Or we might not, it might just go black, which would be really depressing. Not that it would be depressing because we'd be dead and we wouldn't know. It was depressing because it's black and our minds would be switched off. But still, yeah. I don't know. I'm completely open-minded. I don't know. There could be God, there could not be God. There could be heaven, there could not be heaven. For all I know, we were created by aliens. That's another theory that goes out, and this, that's always possible because human beings at that point in history, cavemen, etc., weren't the intelligent ones, and so they would have seen aliens from other planets as gods, and it would have made sense. So, who knows what the truth is? We don't know. I don't know. I always sometimes think it'd be nice to have a religion, something to believe in, but I don't have a belief. I'm too open-minded. That's the only answer I can give, really, mate. Right, where are we? Okay, we've got another 10 minutes at least. Right, next question. Oh, brilliant, from Charlie, Jurassic. And Charlie wants to know, if you could spend time in any game world, which one would it be and why? I'd say Uncharted, just because of the adventure aspect and the fact that you can hang out with Drake and Sully all day, and I think it'd be really fun. There'd be a lot of danger and a lot of gunfire, but I just think it'd be really cool every day on the hunt for a new treasure, and being able to explore jungles and just explore mythology. I always find history really interesting as well, so I think that'd be a fantastic world to inhabit. It'd be a little hectic and you wouldn't really get much rest, but yeah, I think that'd be great. So yeah, Uncharted. Next set of questions, 3 questions from Darkfall. Congratulations on 2000, thank you very much, mate. And question number 1, who's your favourite developer, brackets not publisher, whose latest game you always used to look forward to being released the most on the Super Nintendo? Honestly, mate, until this generation, I had no clue who developed games, who published them, who the people who actually made the games were individually, like people like Cliffy B and all the stars. I didn't have a clue. Growing up, it was just like a new game's coming out. Is it any good? Let's play it and see what I think. I was aware of companies like Melbourne House, Ocean, Taito or Taito, or however the hell you say it. Psygnosis, obviously, Bitmap Brothers. But I didn't know who was publishing games, who out of those was developers, or what the situation was. I didn't know any better. So I never really looked for a particular company when making a game decision. It was more about the game itself, if someone recommended it to me, or if I just happened to find it cheap in a shop and tried it out. Nowadays it's completely different. It's still, I'll go on the basis of recommendations and reviews and things, but there are certain companies such as Naughty Dog who have got that stamp of quality now, and after playing the Uncharted games, it's like anything they bring out I'm interested in. I mean, even Insomniac, who are a bit sketchy, but the Resistance games, number 1 was brilliant, number 2 is a bit iffy, number 3 looks quite interesting, so I don't know, maybe I might have an interest in what they're doing just because number 3's coming out. Other than that, I don't know really, to be honest with you. I mean, I'd probably just say them. I mean, if you look back now, then obviously companies like Bitmap Brothers, Psygnosis and Rare were all the best ones. I hope I'm right that Bitmap Brothers and Psygnosis were developers. If I'm not, then, whatever. I just assume I'm right, I don't know, I haven't got a clue, to be honest with you. Number 2, who is your favourite character / villain from the Star Fox series, excluding Fox McCloud, and which one of the series is your favourite? My favourite of the series is the original SNES version, just because of the technological advancement that it made at the time, and it really knocked my socks off, and it was seriously impressive at the time, and it's hard to explain unless you were old enough to live through it yourself, and it was just wow. And I just love the music and everything about that game, it's just really fun. 64 version is obviously better because it's more expanded, the better worlds, more enemies, different vehicles with the tanks. You've got the reticle on your ship, makes it a little easier to fire because number 1 had a bit of a problem with trying to aim. But the original game is still my favourite, still a classic. I mean, it's always difficult when you get a series of games. Usually the first one's brilliant, and then the sequels are either as good as, very rarely better, or crap. So it's always a bit of a rough ride. But I'm still with the first one. Favourite character, I haven't got a favourite villain, but favourite character other than the Fox would be Falco, just because he's a grumpy sod, and he's always moaning about the fact that you're helping him out, and he gets really annoyed when you shoot at the ships and protect him, because he just thinks he's that good, he can do it himself, and it just makes me laugh. Next question, question number 3. If you could have any original Xbox game remade for a next-gen console that hasn't appeared on the 360, which one would you choose? Right, I'm assuming because you're saying remade, you mean like a HD upgrade for the Xbox Live Arcade or something like that, or even a full price release. I'd probably pick a game like Brute Force, because I mentioned it earlier, it's a great game. It's a third person action game, and I thought it was a really good game on the Xbox. It never really got the exposure it deserved, and so I think to make that HD would be really interesting to remake it. Other than that, I mean, you can obviously make a sequel to it and make a completely fresh game, but there's always a danger you could end up screwing it up. So I'll just HD it and make it, get some more interest in the original. Okay, guys. Well, looking at the time, I'm going to close this part here, and then I'll come back to part 3 and start again. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in part 3.